Hello everyone, my name is Nicholas Pearl. I'm 31 years old and Miss Jaynes has asked me to come talk about my story. And here's the wonderful lady herself.
Hi Nick, I'm Jaynes. I'm one of Nick's glorious friends. I am here to interview him. He has left rehab yesterday and just started his new life of recovery. I met Nick about 4 or 5 years ago?
Yes.
4 or 5 years ago when he was in a bad point, I was in a bad point. We both were in active addiction. Mine had not come to its worst point yet, but it had definitely made its way there, and he was with me through that whole entire length of beginning to end pretty much as it got worse. So I'm just here to ask some questions about him because he's one of the people that I have really cherished in my life and wish the best for. And this is a moment for me that's really, really important. And I'm happy to see him here. He knew my sister. He's known most of my family. I've known most of his friends. His wife was one of my best friends. So, yeah, this is
It's a big deal.
really important for me. So, Nick.
Yes.
Nick. Okay.
Yes.
How old are you?
I am 31 years old, which is, I've already said, but apparently we have to go over it again.
Okay, so at what age did you start using drugs? We'll start with just drugs
Just
in
drugs?
general.
Shit, 17. 17 years old.
And how did that begin?
It began with smoking pot and sniffing Oxycontin.
Okay, so what was the drug that really, we could say you fell in love with, the drug that caused you to keep rolling in that direction?
I didn't really have, I loved weed and drugs didn't really get to me too bad before heroin. Heroin was that was the drug that did it for me. I'll tell people all the time if they ask me, I love heroin. Before it was fun, then it got to be a habit, and then after Ayla passed, I used it to deaden my pain.
Yeah, I know a lot of people when they go through traumas, they tend to use more, and people say, oh, well, why would you want to keep using if somebody just passed away or something bad just happened? It numbs the pain, and people, some people actually, they don't want to die, they don't want to commit suicide, but they may feel suicidal, so they use the drugs to basically not do that. But at the same time, they don't realize in the insanity they're actually killing themselves as well, just slower and on an installment plan.
I knew what I was doing. I knew exactly what I was doing. I was in very, very rough shape after my wife died. If anybody knew me and my wife, we were very, very, very much in love. And my wife was a vet. She was injured. That's how we got into heroin. She begged me for a month. She took a month to convince me. And I was off to the races. I would support both of our drug habits. It was about 100 bags a day with combined, 50-50, I'd say. I could do 10 bags in a shot. I had a serious habit, and we were really good people. Even though we were drug addicts, I've never seen it work. Two people in an active heroin addiction not lie to each other, not destroy each other, and not destroy their relationship. The saddest thing is admitting that if anybody knows me, I can be a little arrogant. If anybody knows me, I can be a little arrogant, and my arrogance is really why my wife isn't here. I was arrogant enough to believe that I could use heroin with no consequences. And the consequences were more than I could ever bear. I was in rough shape. Bree was one of the only people who came from my hometown to see me. And as I'm sure you all know, her sister Whitney passed away, and I didn't have a car, and Westfield is not close to Buffalo.
No, definitely not.
BFE town. I moved heaven and earth to make sure I was there for her as she was there for me.
He really did. Nick's been definitely one of my closest friends, and I think that even through his addiction, he definitely lent me money. He made sure I wasn't sick. He lent me rides. If the car broke down, he was just somebody that no matter how bad his life got and his situation got, he still cared about other people. And that's something you don't really find in addiction. And I feel that his marriage to his wife, who died at, how old was she, 23, 24?
25.
She was 25 years old. She died at 25. for somebody to be that young, in love, married, and have an addiction on top of it that didn't break them up or cause them to stop loving each other, that is amazing in itself. And I was always so jealous of them because I wanted that type of love myself. You know, my relationship was a lot different, and I think that throughout my life I always aspired to be like them. And then at one point I thought, why am I suffering all these consequences? Why am I losing my jobs? Why am I ending up in jail? And why aren't they? Because we both had been using around the same time and together. So while I was watching this, you know, then my friend Ayla, his wife, passed away in September of 2017. And we had been very good friends. I had seen her every day for years prior to that, due to, you know, obviously her addiction. But we had been friends prior to that. We had met when I was 15 years old. So for this to happen, it kind of brought me into reality. Like, you know, things do happen. There are consequences. And I was really, really sad for Nick. And the biggest thing I wanted for him and for her was for him to live and to get better. And like, we all mess up. We all, you know, we've all relapsed before for the most part on something or someone, or even just relationship wise, going to a bad toxic relationship again. We have setbacks in life. And Nick has pushed through those, even though he's gone through a lot of feelings. Can you share with me some of the feelings you had after your wife passed, Nick?
The feelings I had after my wife passed were just terrible agony.
Louder.
It's just absolute pain, misery. I had something special with my wife, and her loss, I mean, it's been over a year. I mean, it's been almost 2 years, and I haven't even been with another woman. I loved my wife completely, fully, and she worshipped the ground I walk on too. It was something that I'll never have again. And I punished myself for these last 2 years. I didn't care if I lived or died. I really didn't. I mean, I was in rough shape. Bree came here one day. I mean, what was in here? A lawn chair and a bed and a radio, I think.
A bed, a TV, and like one thing in the fridge, I think.
Yeah, and I didn't even care. I didn't care. And now I was done punishing myself, so I checked into rehab, and that's a big step for me, because we bought a house. I mean, I didn't fucking fall apart when I was a heroin addict, and I looked out, and not just giving people drugs. Like, me and my wife were really, really good people. I mean, I've never gone out to boost to support my addiction. I've withdrawn so hard off heroin and didn't rob people for money. I mean, I had a yeah. I've been robbed by this one. I mean, not in the greatest sense, but not in the actual sense where she just took off with my money. But
I paid it back.
Eventually,
come on,
and
get over it.
Get over it. Yeah,
we're adults. We're over that part of our life.
We are over it, but you know, it's kind of funny. But I always it took a lot for me to go to rehab, because you know I always set myself apart. You know, I quit cold turkey. I'm not on methadone or Suboxone. I quit cold turkey at home. I didn't go to a detox. I suffered, and I had money to go buy drugs. You know, I mean, the willpower that took. Mm-hmm. I can't explain to you how bad I withdrawn from heroin. I mean, I'd wake up with the bed soaked from sweat after one night, and it was just really, really bad.
All right, Nick. Now, I want you to tell me about a breaking point for you. If you want to talk about the day your wife died, if you want to talk about the thing that got you to go into recovery, maybe even maybe some of your childhood, the things that kind of led you to a bad place and then led you to a better place, I think is what I'm getting at here. So.
Who is that?
I don't know.
Who's